And there we are. Wait for the picture. Well, hello again everybody, and welcome back to yet another edition of the Inworld Review. It is the 28th of April, 2013 of course. Already, would you believe it? This time next week, May Day will have come and gone. Not sure about the May Day holiday. We must be due one of those as well. But anyhow, the year progresses. It's pretending to be spring in the organic sim. And I'm sure it is spring here in Second Life, where lots of wonderful fairs have been happening, particularly at the Fantasy Faire. And other spring-like adventures, just like all the pop festivals are beginning to start shortly in real life as well. Anyhow, I'm dressed up for the occasion. I don't normally dress up, but it seems to be changing clothes a lot recently, so I've dressed up for you today. Like the new top hat, it's not new at all, but it's rarely seen. And I'm joined, as ever, by Tara, who's got a very nice waistcoat on, Saffia, who's actually got wings today, and Petlove, who's joined her in a pair of wings. Fun stuff. We'll be hearing about that very shortly indeed. Before we go further, those of you watching live have of course been treated to some of our introduction clips over at the Metaverse Week in Review. We had a few clips from Fantasy Faire, one from Dragster and another party win. I showed 9 new pages of Bobbekins, which we showed the first 4 or 5 last week. And we do have something special coming up later. It will be quite later in the show because, believe it or not, the footage is still uploading. But we wanted to get the Bobbekins people onto this sort of chat show, and they couldn't make it, being Sunday and various other things. So what we did on Friday is we did an advanced recording. We did an interview, but we've also interspersed it with film of the Bobbekins themselves in their film lot and various other things. So it's an exciting interview. We've got Chantal Harvey, Tony Dyson, Sylvia Davidson, and our very own Slim Warrior, all taking part in the interview. Slimmy did the music, so it's got to be good, hasn't it? And Chantal did the filming, and Tony directed it all. Anyway, you'll be hearing more about that later. So I noticed in the live chat room now, so people were mentioning that and posting links and whatever, so very good. They are trying to raise some crowdsourcing money, which we'll be finding out about later. One of the other clips we showed was an interesting feature that's coming in a couple of weeks, being brought online by Inworld. Inworld is a sort of open sim grid, though it's a walled garden like Second Life is. But they're introducing something called Dream Share. If you saw the clip, the basic idea is you'll be able to take an object that you've created in Inworld, and via the viewer you'll be able to export a sort of 3D copy of it in web format. So I don't know, if you design a lovely flower or a fancy chair to sit on, you'll be able to sort of send a link to the web, and people on the web will be able to pan around your chair and admire it in all its 3D glory. Interesting stuff there, and apparently, you know, you won't need a special viewer or download. You'll be able to use Firestorm or any of the viewers to do it from. So look forward to hearing a bit more about that. Digital Urban, which is the blog for the basically the Royal Geographical Society in England, Andy posted a very short clip. We saw one last week, but they have a sort of agent following simulation thing called City Engine, where you actually have avatars carving out defined paths, as it were, in a virtual city. And we showed a very short demo of this actually working on the iPad. It uses Unity as its engine, and it works as a sort of virtual world on the iPad, complete with tracking avatars, even if the avatars are rather boring squares at the moment. And we had an extended piece at the very beginning on head-mounted displays for virtual worlds. It was, well, a rather long piece, but it shows the potential of all these new things, pieces of hardware coming online, so to speak. Anyway, that was that. In the other main news for the week, before we go any further, not actually a huge amount. One rather interesting thing was our friend Ian Hughes, known in World as ePredator, has a very interesting post this week on his blog, which is www.feedingedge.co.uk, and the post title is "Training in a Virtual Hospital with Zombies." Well, I forget the zombies, but he points out that he very rarely actually has sort of permission, as it were, to talk about some of the projects he works on in his blog. But this one is an exception because he's working with a chap called Dave Taylor at Imperial College here in London, and they're working together on a multidisciplinary major incident simulator. And there are no restrictions basically on his reporting on what he's doing there. So if you check out the post at his blog, you can find out all about it. Very interesting stuff indeed. It's great to see some medical focused stuff coming online using virtual platforms. I'm sure we'll be joined in forthcoming weeks by Felon Carmel again, but there was actually a post courtesy of Daniel Voyager, who's in the audience actually, this week announcing that Virtual World's Best Practices 2013 rather, is going to be held on 4 different platforms, and the platforms are going to be Second Life, Cloud Party, Jibe and Unity, and Joycadia. Joycadia, of course, is where Rockcliffe's OpenSyn headquarters are. We will obviously have more on that later as we go. And what's the other one I've got here? If I can find the title of it. Yes, if you're around on May the 2nd, I'm not sure what day of the week that is, but it's one of the days next week. There is a workshop in Second Life, which starts at 12 noon Second Life time, and it's called Education for the Future in the Light of Multiculturalism and Web 2.0 Tools. And I'm just scrolling down here to see if there's actually a sim a slur I can give you to get to it, and believe it or not I can't, so I'm gonna hang on, I can. No, I can't. There's a Second Life group. It's a Second Life group they send you to. So if you'd like to know more about this, check out the blog, which is Virtual Online Language Learning, all one word, .wordpress.com, and you can find out quite a bit more about that happening this week, of course, in Second Life. So my remaining links tend to be more in-worldy lifestyle sort of stuff, so I shall put them aside for you. Now, talking of posts with not too wonderful blog links, I think actually that is a bit of a venting point for Tara, who's sitting next to me. So I'm going to head over to Tara for her sort of weekly roundup. Welcome, Tara.
Thank you, Mel. And you swiped half of my news already, but this is always one of the fun things about when you have multiple people independently scouting the news. Who ends up with which items when you don't compare notes? Anyhow, yes, I have a small rant, or maybe a not so small rant. This was prompted by a visit to the Fantasy Faire website this morning, where I went to attempt to confirm how much longer Fantasy Faire runs. And the rant goes as follows, and this is, unfortunately, the Fantasy Faire website is not the first and probably not likely to be the last to suffer from this particular mistake. But the rant is that Second Life websites, especially ones that are specifically for an event, often fail to provide above-the-fold information on the dates and SLURL or SIM names of the events. Now, Fantasy Faire has done a great job of listing all the sims where it takes place, but nowhere on that page can you find the dates that the event runs. Now, I will give the Hunt credit because there's a little ad for that with dates in that. But that's the hunt, and as we on this show know, the hunt is continuing well past the end of the actual Fantasy Fair. So it was only with some other digging around that I was able to determine that actually the closing date for Fantasy Fair for the fair part of things is tomorrow. There's an open. I could learn that today there is the lives. Yes. The live auction is happening.
Auction.
Yes, auction. That's the word. Yes, that's happening today. Although I don't recall that I noticed what time that was happening. It probably overlaps with the show. I tend not to pay much attention to the times on things that are happening that collide with the show. But anyway, so that's my rant. If you are setting up a web page or a blog or anything of that sort for an event in Second Life, make sure above the fold, and that's the part of the web page that's visible without scrolling, are prominently displayed the dates of the event, if it's time specific, the times of the event, and the location of the event. And ideally with a Slurl link so that somebody can go to the map and then pick up the Slurl, which they can copy or click on depending upon how they have their browser set up and get there. So that's my rant. It's interesting how often that those minor details that are absolutely vital to being able, to getting people to the event that you've set up this website to promote, are missing. It astonishes me, and I think the same thing applies with hunts. There's a lot of hunt sites I visited that have failed to include at the top of the page the dates that the hunt runs and a starting location. So anyway, so there's the end of the rant. Well, with Fantasy Fair winding down, an item that I actually meant to cover last week but didn't, but you still have a couple of days, and this is Linden Lab is currently looking for applications for their next round of the Second Life ad campaign that features an RL picture and Second Life avatar. And specifically, they are looking for those whose avatars do not physically resemble their humans. So if you tend to hang out in an avatar that does not look like you, in the you human, and you're willing to reveal the differences, now is the time, and you have until 11:59 p.m. Pacific time, Second Life time on Wednesday, to complete the application form, and I will send you to the official Second Life blog to find the link for that application form from the post of last week that announced this. So go do it. There were several clips that looked at some of the new technology, and I continue to follow this with quite a bit of interest since I have both a Leap motion device on order, and I also am awaiting my developer's kit for the Oculus Rift, and there's a third device that I also went ahead and did a sign up for that isn't due for some time. But there was one I ran across, somebody who has done some early work with Leap Motion and Oculus Rift combined. Now, Leap Motion is a hand motion sensor, and this was done with in a Unity setting, and apparently the thing that they found is that the Leap device does not do a good job of catching finger motions and details of hand motions, so that it doesn't work real well for that combination. So there's still some big issues with the Leap Motion implementation, as it's pointable objects and stuff. But so stay tuned on that one. That particular combination does not seem like it's going to be an out of the box sort of availability. Leap Motion device, by the way, the latest on that is they're shipping in June. They delayed a bit, about a month, I think, on their targeted ship date, in order to incorporate feedback from developers who've been using it and running it through its motion. So this may be one of the things there might be some improvements on. The good news, there's apparently now an official confirmation from Linden Lab that they in fact will be working to support the Oculus Rift, and so apparently there are some of the geeks at Linden Lab who are informally already have gotten their developers kits and are working on it. And I saw a comment on the follow-up on this on in Hamlet's blog that someone else who was not a Linden Lab person but had already put together an implementation. So I am hoping I can get plugged into that as soon as I've got something to play with, and then I can maybe show you some things. But anyway, so that's good news. Excuse me. Hamlet seems to be of the opinion that it's unlikely the lab is going to get too carried away until the retail version comes out of the Oculus Rift, which isn't until late this year or into next year. But one would hope that they don't dawdle too badly, because if the Oculus Rift succeeds, they're going to want to be in at the gate. If they're not, I think it's one of those that if they aren't up front when it's available, that's not going to be good for Second Life uptake. So anyway, so I thought that's very good news. I think. Let's see. Mel already covered the latest update on the Virtual World's Best Practices in Education Conference, except for a couple details. If you happen to be an educator and want to do something at the conference, the submission deadline is May 6th. So you've got about a week to put your... Oh, excuse me. Never mind. Let's try that again. May 6th is the date when submissions open, and you have until June 15th to get your submissions in for program pieces. The event is actually July 24th to 27th. And I might note, and this is actually kind of for Daniel in the audience who was under the impression that this is the first time that they'd done stuff on other worlds. That's not quite accurate. In the last couple of years, they have had at least field trips to non-Second Life sims. So there has been some activity. It's never been covered as far as broadcast coverage, but there definitely have been field trips and some how-to kind of things that have happened on other grids. But yes, good plan, and different time for that event and moving it into the summer. It's previously been held in the April window, I think, and I suspect that they realized that if they moved it into the summer months, that they'd probably get better participation on the part of educators when they're not in class. So that's good. And a birthday in the world of Second Life. New Citizens Incorporated (NCI) celebrated their 8th birthday yesterday with an event, and NCI is a long-standing place for new residents to go and hang out and get acquainted, and has been featured regularly in the Second Life official destination guide under newcomer friendly. And I think I've just run out of items. So now I'll toss it back to you, Mel.
Okay, well, thanks very much, Tara. Interesting stuff. You've just reminded me. I just rushed over to get my iPad to get it, although I haven't really played with it. But you were talking about interfacing toys, and this really isn't particularly my thing. There's a game came up this week on the iPad called Kinetic Defender. And I'm not particularly interested in shooting down starships trying to invade Earth and all that sort of stuff. Really not my thing. But the reason I downloaded it is that part of the program apparently is a sensor device for the iPad, where not only can you touch the screen like you do on an iPad, but you can also use the iPad's camera to make gestures. So you can control this game with gestures of your hands and things using the iPad's front camera. I can't give you a first-hand report on that, because downloaded it I have, but played with it I haven't. So, but I was quite intrigued, because I read a blog post, all about the basically there's two pieces of software here. There's the game, and built into the game is a free piece of other software that allows you to use gesture control in front of the iPad's camera. So Kinetic Defender is the name of the game. Cost you a couple of bucks, but it's not too expensive. If you're interested in that kind of thing and you have an iPad, it's probably iPhone as well, come to think of it, anything with a front-facing camera, as it were. Right, so let's see where we are from here. I am joined today by Petlove, who's just hopped away from the mic for a few seconds. But also, of course, as always, I'm joined by Saffia Widdershins. Hi, Saffia. Oh, and silence is golden.
And Saffia has herself muted.
Hello. Sorry, I did have myself muted so that I could not disturb you with noises while you were talking. Yes. But here I am now.
How very thoughtful of you. And you have been busy at the Fantasy Fair, of course. But tell us more and whatever else is new.
Well, the Fantasy Fair has been sensational. All the Sims are absolutely magnificent. They've been packed all week. I think, every event in Second Life says, how can we get people to come here? How can we publicise this so people know about this and come? I honestly don't think Fantasy Fair has that problem. It has been heaving. You say things to yourself like, well, I'll go early in the morning because that'll be nice and quiet and I'll be able to get round without too many lag problems. No.
Not this year.
Absolutely packed. And it's been great fun. One of the things I've loved doing is listen to Fantasy Fair radio. Because Xander has been running a radio channel for the whole week of the fair, and they've had music. They've also had live DJs. They've had live musicians. They've had interviews. They've had chats. They've had all sorts of stuff happening, and it has been just such great fun to take part. I was on it yesterday, being Fantasy Fair's war correspondent. This is my latest role.
War correspondent at the Fantasy Fair, dear me. What have the Tinies been up to now?
Well, the Tinies actually arrested 3 of the academics from the quest for the Golden Prim.
Oh, dear. Oh, I see.
Aha, yes. Now, there's a story here, which I'm sure you want to hear. Basically, we have relaunched the webcomic, The Quest for the Golden Prim, and you will find it at www.goldenprim.com. Dead easy to remember. And we decided that we would relaunch at Fantasy Fair. We thought it was the appropriate place, and that steampunk and gas lamp fantasy don't really get a huge look in at Fantasy Fair, but it's still fantasy. We thought it would be a great place and a great way to do it. So we took a store and we will put on the Oriental Sim, which was absolutely perfect because we've constructed it. Martini Discoverlante, with help from Yolanda Hearthy, constructed it as a kind of Oriental Adventurers Club, or an Oriental Explorers Club. Oriental in the sense that it's sort of Victorian gentlemen have got a base in some Oriental city where they have a branch of the Explorers Club. And as you go around, you find things like a library and books, and you find things like animals they've collected, stuffed animals they've collected, including a dodo and a 2-headed penguin, and there's all sorts of stuff there. Pet showed this last week on the broadcast, and it's and the secret rooms as well. It's absolutely great fun. It was huge fun to do. But yesterday we actually launched the webcomic, and we did it by having a party at the Explorers Club, and because the storyline of The Quest for the Golden Prim, when you've read Volume 1, you will discover that while they are visiting Steelhead to make contact with someone, the three academics discover a murder and are caught. You can't really say flagrante delicti for a murder. What's the expression? Anyway, whatever it is, they were caught in it and hauled off to jail, but they escaped with the help of another of their party who drugged the police. And we thought, reasonably enough, that the police would have been hot on their trail ever since and caught up with them in the Fairlands, where they were arrested to await extradition unless they could be bailed out. And they were indeed bailed out. So we had a jail and bail. We raised over 50,000 lindens for Relay for Life through the jail and bail, because the legal authorities of the Fairlands were appalled at the arrest of such respectable people as the academics, and they actually contributed to the bail, which was very generous of them.
This is really a case where it pays to get arrested, though, isn't it?
Certainly it pays Relay for Life.
Best way to get arrested, yeah.
So that happened yesterday, and that was great fun. Last night there was the silent auction. I picked up a very pretty little Japanese village for petites that I'm hoping to put out on my land. And tonight is the live auction, which is the climax, really, and it is always the most exciting event to watch people bidding and going higher and higher and higher to buy stuff. And I must admit, I've got a meeting at 4 p.m, which I hope you'll be coming to as well, Mal, because it's for SL10B Press.
Okay, yeah, we hopefully will be free by then.
I'm hoping to wrap that up at a reasonable hour so I can get away and find out what's happening at the live auction. I'm really looking forward to that.
Indeed. What time's the live auction then?
Starts at 4.
Oh, I see. Right, so we've got our little meeting and then they get to the end of the auction. Yeah, okay, very good. What happened in the talks? Any interesting talks you did? I don't suppose you filmed them, given the lag that was there, but...
No talks. No, I don't do talks at the Fantasy Fair. I just do those at Home and Garden. MB.
Sorry, I thought you mentioned something about talks. So I'm getting my wires crossed completely here, aren't I?
They come later in the year. I'm going to have to start setting the Home and Garden ones up soon, because that event is the end of May. And Tara, I'm high-fiving you on your groan. The other day I was trying to give someone information about the Home and Garden Expo, and I had to go through about 5 pages before I found the date. You know, they'd kind of put the date in the opening post, and then of course that had gone down and down and down as other posts had come in, and you just couldn't see it at all. So
exactly, yeah. Put it in the banner. You know, use your menu bar. There's always ways to do it. It's just people don't think about it.
I know when we did OBR, we picked up a tip that Katie had done with SL9B, and that had a kind of count. You know, how many days to go, and I thought that was a brilliant idea.
Sure.
We had that on the OBR site.
Until you log in and it says, sorry, over. or minus 20 days.
Go away.
That was 2 years ago.
I think it also helps if you put a year on it, especially for things that happen annually.
Harry, you are so picky, I swear to God.
I have been to a couple of websites recently. I forget what they are. It might be best practices or some annual event. And you know, it's been announced for this year and everything else, but you go there and of course it's still got last year's dates on it. I mean, which is probably just as bad, really, because first sight people think, oh well, that must have been good. last year. But can't win there. Yeah, the ideal thing, of course, just put the dates on your banner heading. You know, if you're going to have a logo at the top of the page, put the dates in it, and there they will stay, hopefully. Right.
So, right. Other stuff. You want other stuff?
Yeah, I was just going to comment on Fantasy Faire, because you are right in the sense that it's one of those things that it's been occupied all hours of the day, but also gone very viral. I mean, I must have posted in the Malbones Writer Twitter feed this week, I reckon about 6 or 7 posts every day on Fantasy Faire, and those were just the ones that summarized events or had sort of general purpose picture galleries. But looking through the fashionista blogs, of which I get probably more than 1,000 posts a day, because it's all aggregated, and I scan through it. And usually it's just people posing in costumes and, you know, look what I'm wearing, or look what I'm promoting for this shop, or whatever. I mean, it's all very colourful and exotic to look at, but it's a quick scan. Well, it's not a very quick scan at all, but you get the idea. But this week it's been all Fantasy Faire. I mean, every second post has been Fantasy Faire, and I can't post all these on my stream. It would take forever. But the thing is, it doesn't matter whether it's people doing home interiors, whether it's people designing costumes, clothing, jewelry, whatever. It seems to have been viral in all these blogs, in everybody in fashion or in lifestyle or in creating things seems to have done something to either take along to the Fantasy Faire, or blogging about something they got at the Fantasy Faire, or doing a review of a particular shop or whatever who's gotten out that's in Fantasy Faire. So Fantasy Faire is just, it has been everywhere during the week by name, you know, so it's been totally unavoidable as far as I can see.
That really is awesome, isn't it? That's a degree of penetration that really is.
And that's what happens really with something that's really quality. You know, when you have real talent and real skills, real beauty, it finds its way. And the fashion industry in here, like, we all know it's there. Some people make fun of it, some people love it. But the fact is, there's like real talent here, and it's important to all facets of all lives.
I agree.
In fact, I love scanning through the fashionista feeds, actually, because I don't post them, you know. I don't do fashion unless it's something exceptional.
Me either, and I just said that.
even if it's Eshy or somebody, you know.
But Eshy's brilliant. Eshy's the bomb.
You know, to me, it's a really strong design element. You know, as a designer, you know, you look at sort of conceptual drawings for real life fashion, you know, before it enters the catwalk. And, you know, looking at some of the designs and stuff in these things, it's a joy to just flick through and see the pictures. I don't post them, but, you know, there is some wonderful stuff there I just see every day. Some pretty trash as well, but that's beside the point.
I like the stuff that's 6 and 7 years old.
Yeah, old school style.
Old SL school, yeah.
Yeah, it's the avatars, the old age avatar.
Retro. The polite word is retro.
Oh, I don't know. There was plenty of trash 6-7 years ago too.
That's what I'm talking about. No, it wasn't trash. They worked with what they had.
Yeah. No,
There's still new trash. There's plenty of real trash. Don't worry. There will always be trash. But
the Fantasy Faire seems to have brought out a lot of the not possible in real life fashion too. I mean,
cool.
Like you're both wearing wings today, which doesn't normally happen in real life. I'm sure you could go on the catwalk and mock some up if you wanted to, but I don't think I'll see you in the high street with wings. But you know, there actually are some, you know, attempts to design clothing and costumes that they almost fit on some kind of future evolved human or something like that, and you know, they've got a pure fantasy element about them.
And skins, they're just awesome things. I picked up a couple of really beautiful skins from Alia Baroque. Alia had a bail and jail and bail, where when you donated to help get him out of jail, he would he gave you a skin, which was fantastic. I donated to it wasn't to get out of jail for him. It was to see whether he should be sent to heaven or hell. I donated twice, once to see him sent to heaven, once to see him sent to hell. I'm an even-handed girl. And so I actually was given 2 skins. I got the heaven skin and the hell skin, and they are rather stunning. If you like, and Pet will slide the camera away, I can put them on, but you mustn't show my feet, because my feet being mesh will stay the same
Can I show your
colour.
nice feet first? Let me
Show
just
my
try
nice
to
feet
show your
first,
nice feet
yeah.
first.
These are gospel Voom feet. They are
Beautiful
really
feet.
cool. I just love them. Goz does
Okay.
such a good job with stuff. Okay,
Okay, you can
time to change my skin.
Oh, yes.
Okay, look away. Look away now.
No, we're just focused
I'll
on your
take
feet.
bids for Fantasy Faire in Skype, not Skype, in live stream chat. If somebody offers 10,000 lindens to RFL, I'll show Saffia while she... No, I'm only kidding.
Gosh, thanks.
I'm sorry, Seth. I would
She's
never.
probably done. She's probably
I
done
would
it now
never.
anyway.
No. I'm not that quick of a thinker. Trust
She's
me.
got to find it in her inventory first.
Yeah. Have a collective striptease in Age of RFL.
Hush
Save that
up,
for-
Mal. You can get yourself in trouble.
Yeah, no. What's the status of this show again?
I forget. It's adult. It's
I
adult.
think it's PG. She says firmly, I think it's PG.
Well, there are a few clips that I've downloaded and thought I'd love to show these, but they don't get shown.
The first skin is coming in now. Should be.
Say when.
Take a little while to
I
rest.
can certainly
My
see
face
something
and
happening
head.
here.
I hate that rebaking process. You feel like a mush.
I'm going to. Do you want me to rebake? I will if you want.
I'm not looking. You just tell me when to look.
Well, I don't know what your camera will see. My face is fine to me at
You
the moment.
look marvelous, but your face
Yep,
is
okay.
blue. Is that how it should be?
That's how it should be.
All right.
Yep.
Blue
let's
face with
see.
stars on it.
I used to make
This is
skins
the
like
heaven
this.
skin. Isn't it lovely?
Very
It's like-
pretty. Pastel. Yeah,
It,
that's
is-
great.
it reminds me of the avatars in that movie Avatar, actually. I forget
Kind of,
what it-
yeah. They were blue. This is
Yeah.
much prettier, though. I mean,
Yeah.
not that they weren't gorgeous, but yeah, that's really pretty. Who's the artist who did this?
Alia Baroque of Fallen Gods.
Very
Oh,
nice.
yes.
Very pretty. I think.
Do you want to see the hell one?
Wait, I want to figure out what eyes. I guess like light blue eyes, probably, or no, nice deep dark blue eyes would go nice with that. Okay.
I'm just wearing my ordinary green
Right,
ones because
and
this
they're
is just
very
quickly to show
pretty.
you.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. I'll switch
Okay,
the camera again.
switch the camera again.
Alright, that doesn't look great. I'm gonna
Why
come
did
over here.
Why did I mention the fashion blogs?
There
I've
are
had-
real designers who use Second Life as a springboard.
Absolutely, I'd love
Isn't
to
that
do it.
awesome?
I'd actually love to do a week where we just focus on fashion because it's.
Oh, you could.
There are plenty of Inworld fashion shows, of course, but just that aspect of things. Because no, fashion is big. You can use Second Life and similar places to actually design costumes that you intend to put in real life. And conversely, you get people who have organic world fashions who license, copies of them virtually, so that avatars can wear them as publicity for organic world costumes. So it's actually working both ways. The designers working outwards and outworld coming in to show off their actual fashions.
I'm all confused now, Mal.
Oh dear.
Now I'm like,
Okay, you can
Ready?
probably come back on me now. I've taken my hair off so you can see the full effects
It's
of
all
the skin.
Bald
very,
Saffia.
very dark,
cool.
and you look like a sort of space creature. I wouldn't call it hell.
You have a helmet on.
It's gorgeous, I think.
Yes, it's
Oh,
nice.
yeah. Very unique
Mm.
and brave.
I will.
Yeah.
I will
Nice.
say. I will say that in all of these, things, I made a promise to myself that throughout the Fantasy Fair, I would wear just things that I got at Fantasy Fair.
No.
Oh, out of the vendors, right?
out of the vendors that I've given to, so in other words, that are all Relay for Life goods. And with the exception of a couple of things like this that I was given for donating to Relay for Life, so I didn't kind of buy them from vendors, but they were still raising money for Relay for Life. With the exception of a couple of things like this, everything I've worn I've got in Relay for Life vendors, so you can see just how high the standard of goods that they give that are
really
available
stunning.
is.
Very stunning. That is really beautiful skin. It's artwork. You know,
Isn't
it's
it
just beyond, beyond. It's great. So how can we meet this designer? We should get him on the show. Is he cute?
He's extraordinarily cute and very popular and does not talk.
Okay.
Yeah, so much for that.
Yeah. Okay, can you take the camera off? I'm going to change.
Fair enough.
If you don't mind.
I'm still taking bids, everybody. No, I'm just kidding. And Mal, there's your hat. Looking good.
Yes, indeed. And I've still got the Boston hat behind me from last week.
I've been waiting for a chance to focus on it. Thank you.
Yeah. Support the people of Boston with Boston Strong. It sounds like an ale advert, actually.
I predict it'll be USA Strong before much longer.
Yeah.
It's a good slogan. Yep.
Okay.
So let's see.
Right, we're just waiting for now I know Saffia did actually have some other news for us before we got hijacked by Fantasy Faire and then all the fashion blogs.
Yes.
Oh yes, now we're looking
This is another one that I got at the fair. Let me just change because
more of a ball gown now. Yeah.
There we go.
Typing?
It's got foamy skirts. This was another one. This Evie of Evie's Closet was jailed and bailed, and she gave us this when we helped to get her out. It was really quite profitable going around and helping people. They were giving away some stunning stuff.
Well, that's the way it works, you know. When you give freely, you get freely.
Yeah, it was lovely.
On every
and
level.
This is just a really beautiful dress I've been wearing quite a bit.
Do you want to stand up?
So, yeah, I'll stand up and do a twirl.
I'm sure you will. Oh yeah, look at that. That's gorgeous.
Isn't it awesome? It moves so beautifully. Sort of mesh bodice and this wonderful lacy skirt and sleeves.
And
just
the petals
adore it.
are perfect.
And the maple leaves, yeah.
Are they maple leaves? Okay, I thought it was rose petals.
Go close, and you'll see they're maple leaves.
Oh,
it's just
Canada.
a beautiful dress.
The Canadian designer?
She's Australian, actually.
Australian. It's close enough.
Lovely. Lovely texture. Great.
Thank you.
So, yes, Fantasy Faire. Designing Worlds comes back tomorrow, I should say. And guess where we're going? Where we filmed? Guess what the show is all about?
It's a secret, I heard.
I guess it can't possibly be Fantasy Faire because I'll be over.
You must have peeped, Mel. Yeah, it's the first of our 2 shows from Fantasy Faire, and it's going to be awesome.
Great. There's more than enough to cover there, so I'm sure we'll be in for some treats there.
I think
you could probably do a year-long show on Fantasy Faire if we had enough footage. Actually, it's one.
I don't think lack of footage is going to be a problem. We have masses, and other people have been shooting too. Drax is. I don't think he could be sort of pulled away from it. Drax just kind of shot a couple of things. I thought he was just going to do one, but.
Yeah, we showed one just before we came in World, very short bit, but he seems to be, just doing these mini destinations at Fantasy Faire, so he's done quite a few. And there was another rather nice one. It was low res, unfortunately, but it was somebody posted another sort of nice 2.5 minute one. So A bit like my clip last week, flashing between them all at the speed of light, just to give you an overview. But it's great stuff. What is fascinating is I look back at the little clip I did where I was sort of camming around vertical shots, horizontal shots, but of course, when you do a clip like that, you completely miss, things like buildings hidden in trees or up in trees or different levels and things. So you only see when you're walking around and sort of take a turn into a particular sort of avenue, and you find things on the ground, so to speak, which you just can't see from the air. Yeah.
Lots of carnivorous eating plants on the floor of Titan's Hollow. You're up there walking among the beautiful lanterns. If you go and explore down on the ground, you tend to get the man-eating plants.
Oh, dear.
Oh, yes. I run into those elsewhere.
Yeah. Cauldrons.
Pterodwin's cauldron.
Yeah, they were selling some of those, and I managed to get eaten before I.
Well, I have got some news actually from Fantasy Faire.
Great.
That has just come over the chat lines here.
Oh, right.
And they are officially past 7 million lindens raised this year.
Oh.
Wow.
Just from the fair.
Fantastic.
I think last year they raised something like just over 6. They've still got another day to go, and they've still got the auction tonight, which will really boost things.
Wonderful.
And they've just passed 7 million.
I'm trying to actually calculate. That must be
is amazing.
That's over 10 grand.
That should get
isn't
on
it?
evening news. I'm telling you, it really should.
Yeah,
That's great.
just from the one event.
What does 7 million lindens equal?
I was trying to work it out. I mean, it's over
7,
10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 divided by what? 240. We'll call it 240 this week.
Yeah.
That would be. Oh my God! Wait a minute. Okay, $29,167.
Well, $30,000.
Woo!
Isn't it? Yeah, that's.
They'll probably hit
fantastic.
$30,000.
And it's probably more.
That's incredible.
It's probably more because I used 240 for the exchange rate. It's
Yeah,
probably
and
like
it's
230.
probably-
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it's open an extra day tomorrow, and presumably, I mean, I know the hunt.
Another
the
3 weeks of hunts.
Yeah, well, the hunt sim is open for quite a few extra weeks. So I presume
1, 2,
people
3.
would donate from there as well. So
And next week too. So 4 more weeks of Fantasy Faire earnings. Everybody go to the hunt.
Yeah.
Buy the HUD. Have all your alts buy the hunt. I mean the HUD. Some of you have 20 alts. Don't lie.
Yeah, you buy the hunt and look out for tinies.
Well, one
You can
one
bribe
prize, one prize per alt.
No, a
Yeah,
lot
that's
of prizes per alt.
a good new line, wouldn't it? One prize per alt.
Yeah, no, that would be a killer, Mal. I disagree.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would have to be able to identify that they're an alt.
Yeah.
That's right. And they're not going to admit it, so.
Even Matt P can't get away with that one, I'm afraid.
Yeah, how many alts does Matt P have?
Brilliant. There they are. In fact, I gather, Saffia probably knows about this too, but one of the reasons there was a slight delay on the hunt for 24 hours, I believe, and apparently Matt P took the back-end engineering down to revamp it and add new stuff and update it. So
Yes,
there was,
Is that what it
there
was?
was a sort of pause in the hunt while they added brand new stuff and updated it all.
That's some bad timing.
Yeah.
Well, there's 2 parts to the hunt, one of which sends you all over the Sims exploring them. And then the second part of the hunt focuses on the one hunt sim. So you kind of do the one part of the hunt, you go all over the Fairlands, you explore everything, and then you come back and you do the second part of the hunt because you've been given a talisman key. And that unlocks your way into the second part of the hunt, which all takes place on one sim, and is much more focused and concentrated, and has a wonderful story behind it, written by David Abbott, who, as we all know here, we can say in chorus, is the writer of The Black and Mirror.
Indeed.
The writer of the century.
And he's done an awesome story for this. But yes, the technology was struggling a bit. I think, when you have an event as popular as this, it's very, very hard to cover all your bases. So rather than disappoint people by, having something that didn't perform, they made the decision, quite rightly, I think, to take it down and get it going really well and relaunch on May the 1st, when people who missed Fantasy Faire itself will still be able to get involved by doing the hunt.
Yeah. Maybe a bit less slaggy, although actually with this public, with this public, I'd love to do it, but so far the lag and the various other things have just put me off, I'm afraid. I can't guarantee to stay in there long enough. I had a bad enough time this week doing the Mr. Hunter hunt. Which is one of those
Was it hard?
No, it's not hard to do, and it's an opportunity to grab some men's clothing, specifically, But the hunt wasn't hard, but Second Life was being temperamental, should we put it that way?
It had a very bad week.
Yeah, and a new Firestorm update that happened earlier in the week probably didn't help. It seems to be a good update. Now it's working, but while it was learning how to work.
I've kind of gotten to the point where I enjoy when Second Life is going through the throes of these kinds of changes. It doesn't feel right if everything goes smoothly for 6 months.
Well, that's like fantasy anyway.
It feels like they're neglecting us, doesn't it?
Yeah, kind of.
They should be poking, and we're going, ow!
Well, while we're still sort of on Fantasy Faire, actually, I've got a post here which I have heard of these, but I sort of heard of them, then they've just gone on under the radar for me. But I've seen some pictures here which are rather nice, and these are I guess they're a breedable race of creatures called dwarfins.
Oh, yes.
And they're at a Luminaria. Is that Sim? Is that right? At Fantasy Faire?
Fantasy Faire Sims.
And I mean, they're promoting it here as a kind of restart or whatever. But these actually look like garden gnomes, sort of dwarfs. And I gather they're breedable, and you treat them as pets. They're not actually avatars, are they?
You can have a dwarf in avatar. They do actually allow you, and they are some of the finest, as they're the finest mesh dwarves on the grid. It's rather nice to have a dwarf in avatar, and they've been selling very well at Fantasy Faire. But yeah, dwarfins are, in a way, breedable. You can breed your dwarfins.
Kind of hard to breed human type things.
I think it's verging on kind of.
I feel like Dr.
Human
Svengali.
trafficking, really.
Yeah,
I was going to say, is this slavery?
Everything will be breedable in Second Life soon. It's just it's viral, of course. So
no, not really. No. It was viral a year and a half ago. They don't realize it yet, but it's no longer viral.
Yeah. Well, when people
however.
when people start checking out their how much of their virtual currency they've spent on pet food and everything else that goes with it, there's a limit to how many you want to breed, I guess, is the real thing.
Yeah, it depends on what you need. It's like buying a computer.
Well, Tara and I will tell you that, you can never have too many kitty cats.
Yeah, but do you want too many dwarves? I, do want too many dwarves. I could do with lots of dwarves.
If you're into, Tara's got a space to that we can't really see from here, but it's to the sort of left of this stage, big sort of park area. And when I see these dwarfins, they look like garden gnomes.
You have dwarfins over there, Tara?
No, there aren't any dwarfins over there, but I think Mal has notions.
Am I going the right way?
No, I'm just thinking, if you're into open spaces and gardeny sort of grassy sort of places, then garden gnomes are kind of obvious, aren't they? You sort of feel like that. Anyway, I don't know.
I'm looking for them, but I'm not seeing them.
Yeah, there aren't any.
Oh.
There aren't any, but it's giving me ideas, is what I said.
Oh God help us.
For a space like that, shall we put it? Anyway, I digress. I've got another little well, I guess it is an Inworld link, really. SLinquirer.com. They've been going on an awfully long time. They have some, a couple of articles a week. But they had a promotion thing this week for Hot Off the Press. It's a new book. We're talking a real world e-book. Well, it's an electronic book, I guess it will be, called Women and Second Life: Essays on Virtual Identity, Work and Play from a Women's Perspective. Edited by Diana Baldwin and Julie Achterberg. And it's available on Kindle. Oddly enough, nice. This is one of those wonderful blog posts where they don't give you the link. Come again, Tara. Actually, it does say get your copy today, so I'll just press on that and see if we can get anywhere. Oh yeah, I've got it at Amazon. It's not cheap. It's £16.90 in the UK. So
I seem to recall, Mal, that particular title really rings a bell from a conference several years ago. That was one of the women's conferences in World, and I don't remember if it was educator focused or what. Now it's yeah. It's a short-term memory thing.
They've had it listed as an organic paperback, which was quite expensive in English money alone. It's £37. But this seems to be, I think this is actually just a launch for Kindle edition, which is...
Yeah, that wouldn't be too surprising. I suspect the original was probably an academic publication, which would explain the price tag on the Dead Tree version.
I always like to, well, I'm not going to spend that kind of money on it, actually, to be honest, but I do like reading these sort of things, especially as virtual worlds, and particularly Second Life, they, unlike games, they do always seem to have attracted a large number of females. Lots of games. I'm not saying that women are in gaming and everything these days. It's not nothing discriminatory here, but there is a lot of games with the kind of boys thing, and lots of spaces where boys sort of platforms and girls kind of got into them because some girls like to get into the boys things. But Second Life's always struck me as having a a predominant female streak in it. The people making fashions were women before men, I think, largely, and a lot of building and art was, women were diving in there where men were hesitant. I may be wrong, but so I am actually intrigued, when it comes to the way the two sexes make different uses of the facilities and the extent to which they do. So anyway, that book is out on the Kindle version if you feel like checking it out. What else have I got here? We've done the conference later. Couple of plugs been going on for we must get Honor back on next week if we can or something, but couple of completely separate blog posts today on a very nice looking build at LEA 16 called Ascension. Don't know whether anybody here
is that the one with the 5 clubs on it?
No, it's not the cloud. No, it's not the
clubs. It has like 5 clubs in a star arrangement.
No, I think that's another one, to be honest. I might be wrong. I was looking at some pictures earlier, so you can't always tell from the pictures. I just sort of looked at them and thought, whoa, that's a nice build, so I'm going to pop over to. There is an awful lot at LEA now. I keep forgetting just how many different sims there are. I'll sometimes go over there and I look it up on the map and I take potluck and I think, right, well, number 23 sounds good. Check what's there.
No, it's 29 or 30.
No, sorry, I'm just 23 is off the top of my head. I'm talking like, but it's like you put a pin in the Yellow Pages or something to look up a plumber, because you don't want to go down the whole list. I'll just go to one at random, then wander around from there and see how far I get. But Ascension certainly looked nice. And I've got one more link, which I posted earlier, simply called Maps. And if I can find what we're talking, the slow for this one. It's funny what Tara was saying earlier about missing slills. You suddenly realise you're following links and wait, hang on, but where?
It's like driving in Canada.
Yeah,
they say they have names for their roads, but they don't really.
Yeah.
Same thing.
well, actually, then of course the other example I can give is if you look at street names in lots of places, and I know this happens in London, where the street name change. You drive 3 blocks and the street name changes.
Yeah.
And so it starts off as one name and goes through 3 more before you get halfully through town.
Yes, Will.
In Canada, they wait till you're going 90 miles an hour on the
Kensington
highway.
High Street changes names.
Well, it's just lots of roads that sort of got joined along the way.
Southampton Row is one of the worst, because that becomes it's one of the most famous roads in the UK. It turns into the road where the 777 bus exploded. It's a road with a long and fascinating history.
Well, old trails turn into roads. And the fun part about roads, when they change names 18 times, but yet you realize they're still the same road, a lot of times they're an old trail. And I love that. I that's one of my little private personal hobbies that I found out is an actual area of research in some of the goofy psychic worlds to be able to identify old paths and trails and stuff, because they're there. They've just morphed over time. So it is fascinating, and it is tragic too sometimes what happens on them, because it's people.
Yeah.
They go through it all.
I actually love old maps and things where you see where the original trails were, and things that have been built over, and you're looking at the right place, but you're looking at it 300 years ago or something, and think, it must have been so different then.
So cool. I know. Yeah.
Well, this link I've mentioned, actually, it's to a place called the New Cardath Lighthouse. And I've just looked up this Slurl. So it's at, Slurl, Second Life, blah, blah. New space Cadeth. That's Kadath. And the coordinates are 35, 32, 22, if you can remember all that. But I was looking at the pictures on this blog, and it's really quite interesting. I mean, there are plenty of sort of map places, and actually there's a couple of really old map places in Second Life, not related to Second Life. But this actually has things like the Second Life map from November 2002, and the whole of Second Life is, let me see, 5, 10, less than 20 sims. and then it's got the grid map in 2003, which is still not that much bigger, about 55. But the nice thing about this is they seem to have collected a lot more regional mapping information. They've got special maps for all the Steam lands, Blakesea, Bay City and stuff, more detailed than you get on the Second Life main one. They've got a map of the Second Life railways that looks like a London Underground map. And they've even got some very interesting things, like they've even got a special map for the SS Galaxy, which of course is this magnificent ocean liner that occupies 3 sims, but of course there's not that much of a map for 3 sims seen from the air, but their map here is a vertical map because the SS Galaxy has lots of levels.
That is an awesome place. That is really awesome.
I've gotten happily lost in there more than once.
I know, right?
Yeah. I mean, you got 3 sims long, and by the look of it, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 9 levels. Going from the down at sea level up to the top. So
I joined a race around the whole ship one time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was funny. We had these little rowboats. It took an hour.
Is that all?
Yeah, it was good. That was the old days.
Yeah, it looks like the sort of thing that would. It's been built a couple of times too, I think. I remember going there when it opened, and I think it's changed quite a lot since then.
The man who built it is a professional architect in real life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bill Sterling.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, yeah. A perfectionist by the look of it too, so yeah. Okay, well I'm just scanning my list in case we've actually missed anything absolutely crucial, and I can't find anything offhand. No, we're going back a few days there, so I think that's it for my list of in-world activities. What is coming up? Does anybody know what's coming up? Other than an extension of the Fantasy Faire. Have we got anything to look forward to this week? Saffia?
Designing Worlds, first show.
Of course, yeah.
Happy Hunting, out on Friday. Thank you, Bet. Home and Garden Expo, coming up soon. Well, Pet, you'll be doing you'll be doing Happy Hunting, won't you?
I sure will, that's right. That's right.
So, yeah. Home and Garden coming up at the end of May. SL10B coming up in June.
Whoa, yes indeed.
And then Relay for Life. And in fact, I think we should soon be seeing the Paint It Purple and Halfway There fair for Relay for Life as well.
Oh!
They come out in May.
Oh, okay. I didn't know those ones. They hadn't hit my radar before.
They're not on the scale of Home and Garden or Fantasy Faire. I mean, that's the daddy.
Right. How about you, Pet? Apart from being glued to the camera and the editing deck and working.
No comment.
48 hours a day, God bless you.
I think we should mention the new film coming out about the Bobbekins.
Indeed.
Which will be out today. Probably in about another 20 minutes.
Yeah,
and Tiny Adventures, the beginning of a new serial. All for the tinies.
Yep. Yes. We have a lot to look forward to.
Indeed.
Don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to mention it again, but I will mention it now. As far as I can tell, we are about to commence the final stage of the upload for the Bobbekins Special. So it's not going to run immediately after this section of the show closes. We're going to move to some of the clips, and then it will run later in the Week in Review show after some of the other feature clips. We got to give a bit of extra time for it to. Poor old Livestream struggles with things like.
I do have a nice trailer for Nicole X if you'd like that.
I think we've shown that. Already. It may be one that's in the list. I tell you what we do have coming up is I found 2 films by our other friend M.O.We.
Yeah.
There's a longish one that I've held back till next week, but there's one coming up a bit later. The Tiny's Robot Wars.
Oh yeah.
It's just a short clip, around 4 minutes or so by Mo, but that's slated to be showing anything. And actually, I'll tell you one clip we have got coming up, which Saffia I know will have to comment on. Where she said, I don't know, but it's, we have an 18-minute special. Well, actually, the real films of the week. We've got a new episode from Miles' 11th Hour, a nice 12-minute there. I'm planning to get him on the show one week as well. But we have an 18-minute extravaganza featuring the new Babbage Oiling Festival 2013.
Oh, wonderful.
2013.
And who's done this one? Oh, they regularly have a festival of oiling. All the festivals in New Babbage are kind of tied around, cleaning your engine and things like that.
I was just going to say, is it oiling all those gears?
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course.
And who's made it? Is it a Loki Elliott one?
I don't think it is. I'd have to double check because unfortunately I've got the import ready in the playlist, but it hasn't got all the tags. It'll be credited when it shows anyway, but it hasn't got any tags that I can see while I'm talking now, I'm afraid. I don't think it was Loki. I may be wrong. It's certainly really well produced, so you'll see what I mean when we get to it. It could be. That's. But we'll watch the credits when it plays.
Okay. We are planning on doing a Babbage show this season.
Oh, do you think you're sure about that? Could anything possibly go wrong?
It could. I think it could indeed. I will put it this way to you. I said 5 words to Elric, and he was so excited by the concept that we booked the Babbage show for this season.
The 5 words were?
I'm not going to tell you.
Oh,
he's so excited for the.
Yeah.
Wait, that's a contraction.
I think you should just have a little permanent trailer on the webpage that says, and we promise we will visit New Babbage next season.
Yes,
and season.
Nothing could possibly go wrong. We have thought about doing a show where nothing does go wrong in New Babbage, and the audience are on the edge of their seats the whole time waiting for this season's disaster to strike.
They won't know what to do with themselves. They'll
Well, the 5 words could be where nothing ever goes wrong.
Or where nothing ever goes right.
Or don't you dare let anything go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Not too many words there, Mel.
Yeah, probably.
You're not allowed to use your feet, Mel. Only Saffia can use her feet.
No, I love I love that stuff. You know, it's just a brilliant. You know, the machinima filmed in Steamlands, I suppose, generally is just so wonderful to look at. You know, it's certainly. I'm sure Petlove will take my point, where it's very hard to not find something interesting to film.
That's fair. Yeah, I know, Mal. You know what? We're alike in that. We're alike in that.
Plenty to capture the eye. Okay, well let's get back to you, Tara. It's your roundup of things for.
Well, you know, I was looking to see if there was anything in particular on my virtual radar for this coming weekend. There wasn't anything that jumped off the screen at me.
Well, that's
other than it's kind of good because I'm due to do some renovations, I think, in kitty cat in the land of kitty cat shops. Mm-hmm. I think that will probably be my where my attention is going to be. Aside from the fact that in the RL sim, at long last, an overgrowth of alders and a dead tree that needs to come out are that's finally happening this week. Aww. Much to my relief.
Good.
Yeah, I've had this a large pine tree that, unfortunately, pine trees in this part of the world, there's a white pines, there's a blight that they can get. And there's nothing for it. You can't trim it off or anything. And this tree has been slowly dying over about 10 years and has arrived at the stage that I say, I better get it taken out before it gets any deader. It's still got some green stuff on it.
Before it falls on something, yeah.
Well, the thing is that this one, if it fell based on where it is, it would fall on power lines. And this would not make me popular with my neighbors.
Right.
So anyway, it will be taken care of this week, and I'll be watching that with some interest because it's right outside the door.
Great.
But I do hope to jump over and do a little more of a Fantasy Faire here before things close and fight lag.
Well, you have a few more hours left, right?
Yeah.
Till midnight, right, SLT?
Well, no, it's
at midnight tomorrow.
Yeah, it's got another.
Better.
It's open on Monday too, so you never know. That might be a bit quieter for people who haven't clicked that it's open for the extra day. I don't know.
Well, also what time is the auction, Saffia?
4 p.m.
4 p.m.
Yeah. That's in a couple of hours' time.
Yeah, well, and what tends to happen when you have something like that going on is everybody congregates in the sim where the auction is, and other sims are somewhat less occupied. So,
dream on, Tara.
But I can dream. Yes, I can. That's it.
Okay. Well, interestingly, I have got I'm glad we had that little break there because I just realised there's one thing I didn't mention, which will be over if I don't mention it now. Second Life's first annual 2013 Sand and Sea Expo. It starts on May the 2nd through the 5th, which, if I've got it right, is Thursday through to this time next week, Sunday, 4-day expo. I know it's got performances, it's got underwater areas, it's got sea areas. The whole thing is actually sponsored, by the look of it, by some company called Oceana Breedables.
Oh, some company.
Yeah,
That's cool.
They actually... coordinated by Breedables Fright Night Expo. They do also seem to be connected with RFL, which is why I mention it. They were behind.
They sponsor things. They've actually sponsored sponsored Fantasy Faire. They're one of the Fantasy Faire sponsors.
And last year at RFL, I know they had a beautiful shop with some great things.
They did the 2012 Christmas Expo. And they're doing the Breedables Fair this year at the Home and Garden Expo.
That's nice.
So this is just a little thing of their own. I don't know where the funds are for Relay for Life, or it's just a general expo, but looks interesting. When people start talking about sand and sea, you think, well, summer might be here one day. So I thought we'd mention that anyway. Once again, if you want to find out about that, actually the blog I'm looking at is ColleenChrisWordPress.com. That's ColleenChriss.wordpress.com. Announcing that one. And typically, if there is a slill, it's somewhere buried at the bottom of the page. Tara was right on the point earlier on with the grump. Just opening slills is web pages, as we've been talking, has been proof of the pudding, so to speak.
It's nice to have one's point proved so many times. Well, it's not nice. That's the point.
Yeah, we live and learn. Okay, well, I'm going to wrap up the Inworld show for this week. Probably a little bit shorter than normal, but since we've got a long show to come over on Week in Review, all for the best, I should think. I'd like to thank Petlove Petshop for being here, also for doing some massive behind-the-scenes work, not just filming the show, but the other stuff that's coming up. Thank you, Petlove.
You're very welcome.
And, of course, many thanks, as ever, to Saffia, Widdershins, for all the latest on Fantasy Faire and things going on and designing worlds and everything else. Thank you, Saffia.
Thank you. Okay.
And, of course, thank you to Tara, without whom this show's other half would not be, if you see what I mean. Thank you, Tara.
You're welcome.
And with that, I'm going to say I hope you enjoyed it. Do stay tuned to Real Bird Charities, where Metaverse Week in Review continues with wonderful clips and our Bobbekins Special a bit later on. And I hope to see you all again here next week.